One of the enduring mysteries of World War II is what happened to a Nazi relic called the Blutfahne, or blood flag. If any one object can be said to be a kind of Nazi crown jewel, it was a flag, revered and venerated by the party faithful. The Blutfahne was a swastika banner that had been carried by NSDAP members during the disastrous beer hall Putsch in November 1923 in the city of Munich. On the 9th of November, Adolf Hitler had tried to stage a coup in the capital of Bavaria, hoping to take over the province before emulating his then hero Benito Mussolini's March on Rome 11 years before. Hitler would march on Berlin, overthrow the Weimar government, and establish a Nazi state. The attempt went disastrously wrong when the Munich government leaders ordered out the Reichswehr and the police, and an armed confrontation followed as Hitler and thousands of Nazi supporters and brown shirts marched towards the Feldherrnhalle monument in the city centre. Shots were exchanged between the Nazis and the police, resulting in the deaths of 16 Nazis and 4 police officers. Hitler was arrested shortly afterwards and later decided to obtain power through more legitimate means. But the event became a defining moment in the Nazi movement, and those members who were on the streets on that day in Munich were forever after termed as the Alterkämpfer or Old Fighters, a considerable badge of honour in the Nazi party. The preeminent symbol of the coup attempt and the politics that lay behind it was the so-called blood flag. The banner had been the standard of the 5th SA Sturm or Company, a brown shirt unit. During the fighting, SA man Andreas Bauriedl was shot and killed, falling onto the flag, his blood soaking into the material. The actual standard bearer, Heinrich Trambauer, was also wounded and had dropped the flag. During the confusion that followed, Trambauer was said to have escaped the scene with the flag, removed it from its pole, and hidden it inside his jacket. It was then later given to a Nazi called Karl Eggers. In 1925, when Hitler was released from Landsberg prison, Eggers gave the flag to him. Hitler promoted the flag into a totemic symbol of the Nazi struggle for power, having it fitted with a new staff and finial. Below the finial was a silver sleeve, engraved with the names of the 16 party members who died on the 9th of November 1923, including Bauriedl. Then, in 1926, the Nazis' Second Party Congress in Weimar, Hitler, in a ceremony, passed the flag to the head of the SS, Josef Berchtold. From then on, the blood flag was treated as a holy relic and carried by SS Sturmbannführer or Major Jakob Grimminger at ceremonies. Hitler would touch the blood flag against other Nazi banners in a quasi-religious ceremony known as flag consecration. When not used, the blood flag was kept inside the Braun House, headquarters of the Nazi Party in Munich. This building, formerly called Barlow Palace after its British owner, was bought by the Nazis in 1930. The blood flag was displayed inside the building, flanked by SS guards. The question has been posed over the years about its ultimate fate. It was last seen in public on the 18th of October 1944, when it was displayed at a Volkssturm Home Guard induction ceremony in Berlin, conducted by Heinrich Himmler. After that date, the trail goes cold. The Braun House had already been damaged by Allied bombing in October 1943. The building was completely wrecked in January 1945. Grimminger, later an SS colonel, survived the war, finding work as a street sweeper in Munich, and later as a city councillor. He died in poverty in the city in 1969, aged 76. No one thought to ask him what happened to the flag. Did the blood flag burn with the rest of the Braun House in 1945? It has often been claimed that the blood flag was destroyed in the Allied bombing raid that destroyed the Braun House, but common sense suggests that the Nazis would have removed their sacred relics to some secure shelter as air raids on Munich increased. There were 71 such air raids on the city during the war. Munich was captured on the 30th of April 1945 by the US 45th Infantry Division after only light resistance. In 1947, the remains of the Braun House were cleared, and the area remained an empty lot for decades. In 2006, the Braun House cellars were excavated and some Nazi relics were found. In 2015, the basement was torn out. The site is now occupied by a Nazi documentation center. Next door to the Braun House site is the former Führerbau, or Führer building. Built in 1933–37, it was a representative building for Hitler. British Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain and Hitler signed the 1938 Munich Agreement here. It survived the war more or less intact and was later taken over by the US occupation authorities for use as a central collecting place for looted art. But the Führerbau has a darker past. From 1943 until the end of the war, shelters beneath the building stored some 1,000 mostly looted artworks destined for a proposed Führer Museum in Linz, Austria. The cellars were plundered on the night of the 29th of April 1945 by locals, and around 600 paintings were never seen again. The secure storage facilities beneath the Führerbau was where the blood flag and other Nazi memorabilia was stored when not in use. When US infantry captured the Führerbau the next day, the 30th of April 1945, US soldiers ransacked the cellars as well before Monuments Men fine arts teams arrived to take over. The building was not secure until the 10th of June 1945, and US troops rifled through the now waterlogged basements. They found Hitler's cutlery, files and documents. One sergeant found a box of personal items including a gold-plated pistol, a swastika ring, a tiny oil painting of Hitler's mother, a framed photograph of Hitler's dog Blondie, and more initialed silverware. The pistol is now in the West Point Museum in the United States. Flags were taken as souvenirs, along with piles of linen, towels, porcelain, telephones, memorabilia, and anything else not nailed down. So what became of the famous blood flag? There are 4 possible scenarios. 1. The flag was destroyed in an air raid. This seems highly unlikely as plenty of secure storage was available just next door. The Braun House had already been bombed in 1943 and quite badly damaged, yet the flag appeared in public ceremonies in October 1944, indicating that it was being stored somewhere safe. Scenario number 2. The flag was looted by German civilians on the 29th to 30th of April 1945. This is also unlikely. Why on earth would Germans want a Nazi flag? They were after loot that could be sold or bartered on, such as art, food and alcohol, and we know from the record all of these things were taken in large quantities from the cellars beneath the Führerbau. Scenario number 3. The flag was spirited out of Munich by some die-hard Nazi loyalists and hidden in preparation for the Fourth Reich. This is also unlikely. Many of Hitler's personal effects and other important Nazi memorabilia were simply abandoned beneath the Führerbau or in other parts of the city. Why take only the flag and not everything else before US forces arrived? Also, the flag's standard-bearer, Colonel Grimminger, was captured in Munich in 1945. Surely if the flag had been moved, Grimminger, its custodian, would have gone with it and been captured somewhere else. Finally, scenario number 4. The flag was looted by an American soldier between the 30th of April and the 10th of June 1945, before the Führerbau was secured properly. Personally, I think this scenario is the most likely. Therefore, the Blutfahne probably still exists somewhere in America today. It probably remains unidentified in some veteran's family in the present day. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and share, and also support my channel at PayPal and Patreon. Details in the description box below.